Lisa Carter walked through the white hallways of the Galactic Medical Station for the last time. Her hands shook as she carried the small box that held 15 years of her life, pictures of patients she had saved, awards from alien governments, and her medical certificates were all crammed inside the cardboard container. The space station orbited around a distant planet called Kepler-Porter-Cordube. Lisa had worked here since she was 25 years old. Now at 40, she was being thrown out like garbage. The reason was simple but heartbreaking. She had refused to let a young alien child die. 3 months ago, a new boss had arrived from Earth. Gary Hoffman was his name, and he hated aliens. He believed that humans should only help other humans. When he became the head of the medical station, he made new rules. Human doctors and nurses could only treat human patients. All alien patients had to go to different hospitals that were far away and expensive. Lisa had been the head nurse in the alien medical wing. She was famous across the galaxy for saving creatures that other doctors thought were impossible to heal. She had fixed the broken crystal arms of rock people called silicoids. She had helped gas creatures called nebulans when they got sick. Every alien species in the sector knew her name. But Gary Hoffman did not care about her reputation. He only cared about his new rules. The trouble started when a small Zephyrian child was brought to the station. Zephyrians looked like tiny birds with bright blue feathers and big eyes. This child had been hurt in a mining accident. His parents begged the doctors to help, but Hoffman said no. The child was an alien, so he had to go somewhere else. Lisa knew the child would die before reaching another hospital. The nearest alien medical center was 3 days away by spaceship. The little bird creature was bleeding inside his body and getting worse every hour. When Hoffman left the station for a meeting, Lisa made her choice. She took the child into surgery and worked for 8 hours to save his life. She fixed his broken bones and stopped the bleeding. The child lived. But when Hoffman came back and found out what she had done, he was furious. He fired Lisa immediately. He also made sure that no other medical station in the sector would hire her. He called it betraying humanity and put her name on a blacklist that all hospitals could see. Now Lisa stood at the docking bay, waiting for a cheap transport ship to take her away. She had almost no money left. Her savings were small because she had always spent her extra money helping poor patients who could not pay for treatment. The other nurses and doctors watched her leave. Some of them looked sad, but none of them said anything. They were afraid of losing their jobs too. Only Dr. Kate Morrison, an old friend, came to say goodbye. "This is wrong, Lisa," Kate whispered. "What you did was right. That child is alive because of you." Lisa smiled sadly. "I know. But being right does not pay for food or rent." The transport ship was old and dirty. It was the only ship Lisa could afford. The captain, a gruff human named Pete Collins, looked at her ticket and shook his head. "New Montana, eh? That is a rough place, lady. Nothing there but miners and farmers. Why would someone like you want to go to that dead rock?" Lisa shrugged. "It is the only place I can afford to start over." The trip to New Montana took 2 weeks. Lisa spent the time thinking about her life. She had always wanted to be a doctor, but her family was too poor to pay for medical school, so she became a nurse instead. She loved helping people and aliens get better. It was the only thing she had ever been good at. New Montana was exactly as bad as the captain had said. It was a small planet covered in red dirt and ugly mining equipment. The air smelled like chemicals and the sky was always gray. Most of the people who lived there were rough miners who dug metals out of the ground. They did not like outsiders, especially ones who had worked with aliens. Lisa rented a tiny cabin on the edge of a small town called Rust Creek. The cabin was old and had holes in the roof, but it was all she could afford. She got a job at the local clinic, but the work was boring. She only treated cuts and broken bones from mining accidents. Sometimes she helped deliver babies. It was nothing like the exciting alien medicine she used to practice. The people in town heard about her past. They learned that she had been fired for helping aliens, and they did not trust her. They thought she was weird for caring about non-human creatures. Some of them called her names and refused to let her treat them. Lisa felt lonely and sad. She missed her old life and her alien patients. She missed the challenge of learning about different alien bodies and finding new ways to heal them. On New Montana, every day was the same. Wake up, go to the clinic, treat simple human injuries, go home to her empty cabin. 3 months passed this way. Lisa began to think she would spend the rest of her life in this horrible place. She had no money to leave, and no other medical station would hire her because of the blacklist. Then one day, everything changed. Lisa was walking in the mountains near her cabin looking for medicinal plants. She had learned that some local plants could be used to make simple medicines. It was something to do that reminded her of her real work. The mountains were called the Crimson Peaks because of their red color. They were dangerous with loose rocks and steep cliffs. Most people avoided them, but Lisa was careful, and she knew how to climb safely. As she searched for plants, she heard a sound that made her blood freeze. It was a roar of pain, but unlike anything she had ever heard. It was deep and loud and full of agony. It echoed off the mountain walls like thunder. Lisa knew she should run away. Whatever was making that sound was big and probably dangerous, but she was a nurse. When she heard someone in pain, she had to help. It was stronger than fear. She followed the sound deeper into the mountains. As she climbed higher, the roaring got louder. Finally, she reached a hidden valley between two tall peaks. What she saw there changed her life forever. In the hidden valley, Lisa saw something that should not exist. A dragon lay on the ground, bleeding and broken. But this was not like the dragons from old Earth stories. This creature was real and it was dying. The dragon was huge, about the size of a small spaceship. Its scales were dark blue and purple, and they seemed to glow with their own light. Its wings were torn and burned. Green blood flowed from many wounds across its body. The creature's breathing was slow and painful. Lisa stood frozen for a moment. Dragons were supposed to be myths, stories told to children, but here was one right in front of her, and it was clearly intelligent. Its large golden eyes looked at her with awareness and pain. The dragon tried to lift its head when it saw Lisa. A voice spoke inside her mind, weak and full of suffering. "Human," the voice said. "I did not expect to find one of your kind here. Are you here to finish what the others started?" Lisa shook her head quickly. "No, I am a nurse. I help people who are hurt." "What happened to you?" The dragon's eyes widened in surprise. "A healer? Interesting. My name is Vera. I am of the Drakmori people. We are what your species calls dragons, though we are much more than your stories tell." Lisa stepped closer, her medical training taking over her fear. "I am Lisa. You are badly hurt. Can you tell me what happened?" Vera's mental voice grew weaker. "Pirates attacked my ship. But they were not ordinary pirates. They knew exactly who I was and what weapons would hurt my kind. This was planned. They used quantum poison on me." Lisa did not understand what quantum poison was, but she could see that Vera was dying. The dragon's wounds were unlike anything she had treated before, but wounds were wounds. Bleeding was bleeding. Pain was pain. "Can I touch you?" Lisa asked. "I need to examine your injuries." Vera was surprised by the question. "You would help me? Your people and mine have not spoken for 1,000 years. Most humans do not even believe we exist. Right now you are a patient who needs help," Lisa said simply. "That is all that matters to me." Lisa began her examination. Vera's outer wounds were bad but not fatal. The burns on her wings could heal with time. But inside, Lisa could feel something wrong. The dragon's heartbeat was irregular and her breathing was getting worse. "The quantum poison," Vera explained weakly. "It attacks our cellular structure. It unravels our DNA slowly. Your people would not know how to treat it." But Lisa was not giving up. She had treated hundreds of different alien species. Each one had seemed impossible at first until she learned how their bodies worked. She had always found a way. "Tell me about your people," Lisa said as she worked. "How are you different from humans?" Vera was amazed that Lisa was not afraid. Most humans would have run away or tried to kill her, but this small human woman was calmly treating her wounds like any other patient. "We are very old," Vera said. "My people have traveled the stars for millions of years. We have both technology and what you call magic. They are the same thing, really. We can change our shapes, live for thousands of years, and heal in ways your science cannot explain." Lisa listened while she worked. She cleaned Vera's wounds and bandaged them as best she could with her medical supplies. But the real problem was inside. The quantum poison was like a computer virus that attacked living cells. It was designed specifically to kill Drakmori. "Who would want to kill you?" Lisa asked. "There are those who profit from keeping the younger races separated and afraid," Vera said. "They call themselves the Shadow Consortium. They make money from wars and chaos. If the Drakmori returned to help guide the galaxy, their profits would end." Lisa worked for 3 days straight. She barely slept or ate. She tried everything she knew about alien medicine. She used local plants to make new drugs. She even gave Vera some of her own blood when the dragon's body began to shut down. On the second day, Lisa figured out something important. The quantum poison worked by changing the energy patterns in Drachmori cells, but it was designed for normal Drachmori metabolism. If she could change Vera's body chemistry temporarily, the poison might not work as well. Lisa made a crazy plan. She used a combination of earth medicines, local plants, and some of Vera's own shed scales to create a new treatment. It was dangerous and might not work, but it was their only chance. "This might kill you," Lisa warned. "But if we do nothing, you will die anyway." Vera managed a weak laugh in Lisa's mind. "I trust you, little healer. You have shown more courage and skill than doctors who have studied for centuries." Lisa injected the new medicine into Vera's bloodstream. For hours, nothing happened. Then Vera began to shake violently. Her temperature dropped and her breathing almost stopped. Lisa was terrified that she had killed her patient. But slowly, Vera began to improve. The shaking stopped. Her breathing became stronger. The green glow in her scales grew brighter. The quantum poison was losing its hold. On the third day, Vera was able to lift her head and speak clearly. "You did it," she said with wonder. "You cured a poison that has killed hundreds of my people. How did you know what to do?" Lisa was exhausted but happy. "I did not know. I just tried everything I could think of. That is what we do in medicine. We keep trying until something works." As Vera grew stronger, she told Lisa more about herself. She was not just any Drachmori. She was Princess Vera Starweaver, daughter of the Drachmori Emperor. She had been on a secret mission to make contact with the younger species when the assassins found her. "My people have been watching the galaxy," Vera explained. "We see how the different species fight and hate each other. Some of us want to help bring peace. Others think the younger races are not ready. I was trying to prove that cooperation was possible." "What will you do now?" Lisa asked. "I must return to my people and report what happened. But first I have a debt to pay." Vera looked at Lisa with her golden eyes. "You saved my life when you had every reason to fear me or ignore me. You risked yourself for a stranger. This is what my people call a life debt. It is the most sacred bond in our culture." "You do not owe me anything," Lisa said. "I am a healer. Helping patients is what I do." "That is exactly why the debt exists," Vera said. "You helped me not for reward or fame, but because it was right. This is why I believe your species has great potential." When Vera was strong enough to travel, she prepared to leave. Her damaged ship had repair systems that could fix itself once she was inside. But before she left, she took Lisa's hand gently in her massive claw. "Lisa Carter of Earth," Vera said formally, "you have shown honor, courage, and compassion beyond measure. The Drachmori do not forget such things. We will meet again, and when we do, I will repay this debt in a way that will change your life." Vera's ship rose into the sky and disappeared among the stars. Lisa watched until it was gone, then walked back to her lonely cabin. She felt different somehow. For the first time in months, she felt like herself again. She had been a real nurse, treating a patient who needed her skills, but she never expected to see Vera again. The galaxy was huge, and dragons belonged to the stars, not to small planets like New Montana. How wrong she was. After Vera left, Lisa tried to return to her normal life. But nothing felt normal anymore. She had saved a dragon princess, something that sounded like a fairy tale. Sometimes she wondered if it had all been a dream. The work at the clinic was even more boring now. After treating quantum poisoning and dragon wounds, fixing simple cuts seemed pointless. Lisa found herself staring out the window, thinking about Vera and wondering what had happened to her. The people in Rust Creek still treated Lisa badly. They whispered about her when she walked by. Some said she was crazy because she sometimes talked about treating aliens. Others just did not like that she was different from them. Lisa spent her free time in the mountains looking for more medicinal plants. She had learned a lot about local herbs while treating Vera. The plants on New Montana had some interesting properties that could be useful for medicine. 3 weeks passed. Then a month. Lisa began to think that her adventure with Vera was over. Dragons belonged to the vast galaxy beyond New Montana. She was just a failed nurse on a mining planet. But exactly 24 hours after Vera had left, something amazing happened. Lisa was sitting in her cabin after work, eating a simple dinner of canned food. The sun was setting, turning the sky red above the crimson peaks. Everything was quiet and normal. Then the sky exploded with light. 4 massive objects descended through the atmosphere, glowing like falling stars. But these were not meteors. They were spaceships, and they were the most beautiful things Lisa had ever seen. The ships were enormous, each one bigger than the entire town of Rust Creek. They moved smoothly through the air without making any sound. Their hulls looked like they were made of liquid metal that flowed and changed color. Patterns of light danced across their surfaces like living artwork. Lisa ran outside her cabin and stared up in amazement. The ships were landing in the valley where she had found Vera. People all over town were coming out of their houses, pointing and shouting in fear and excitement. "What are those things?" someone yelled. "Are we being invaded?" another person cried. But Lisa knew these were not enemy ships. They were too beautiful, too elegant. They looked like something from a dream. The largest ship settled to the ground first. It was silver and blue with wings that looked almost like a dragon's. The other 3 ships landed around it, forming a perfect circle. As they touched down, the light patterns on their hulls pulsed once and then went quiet. For several minutes, nothing happened. The whole valley was silent. Then a door opened in the side of the largest ship. What came out made Lisa's heart stop. They looked human at first glance, but they were clearly something else. They were tall and elegant, with skin that had a slight scale pattern. Their ears were pointed and their eyes glowed with inner light. They wore clothes that seemed to be made of the same flowing metal as their ships. The leader of the group was a man who looked to be in his 30s, though Lisa sensed he was much older. He had dark hair and golden eyes like Vera's. He moved with the grace of a dancer and the confidence of a king. Behind him came 12 others, all equally impressive. Some carried devices that might have been weapons, but they held them casually, not like threats. Others carried what looked like gifts wrapped in cloth that shimmered like starlight. The group walked directly toward Lisa's cabin. Somehow they knew exactly where she was. When they reached her front door, the leader stopped and spoke. His voice was deep and musical, with strange harmonics that seemed to vibrate in Lisa's bones. "Lisa Carter of Earth," he said formally. "I am Prince Alex Starweaver of the Drakmori Empire. I seek the human who saved the life of my sister, Princess Vera." Lisa's mouth fell open. She managed to nod. "That is me. I am Lisa." Alex smiled and his whole face changed. The formal mask dropped and he looked genuinely happy. "Then I am honored to meet you. My sister has told us much about your courage and skill. She says you saved her life when she was dying from quantum poison." "I just did what any nurse would do," Lisa said weakly. "No," Alex said firmly. "You did what any great healer would do. You saw a being in pain and helped, even though you had never seen our kind before, even though helping us could have put you in danger." By now, people from town were gathering at a safe distance, staring at the aliens. Lisa could hear them whispering nervously. Some had brought guns, though she doubted human weapons would do much against beings who traveled between stars. "May we come inside?" Alex asked politely. "We have much to discuss, and some of it is private." Lisa nodded and led them into her tiny cabin. The inside of her home looked pathetic compared to these elegant beings, but they did not seem to notice or care. Alex sat down at her small table as if it were a throne. "First," Alex said, "let me explain who we are. The Drakmori are an ancient people. We have been traveling the galaxy since before your species learned to make fire. We have seen civilizations rise and fall like waves on a beach." He gestured to the others who had come with him. "These are representatives of the 4 great houses of our empire. House Starweaver, which I lead. House Moonwhisper, masters of healing arts. House Stormwing, our greatest warriors. And House Dreamforge, who create the wonders of our technology." Lisa listened in amazement. She was sitting in her broken-down cabin with what seemed to be alien royalty. "For the last 1,000 years," Alex continued, "we have been watching the younger species develop. We saw great potential, but also great danger. Your people, the humans, especially interested us. You spread across the galaxy faster than any species we had seen, but you also fought constantly, with each other and with other species. We were not sure if humans were ready for contact with us," said a woman from House Moonwhisper. Her voice was soft and gentle. "Some of our people thought you were too violent and selfish. But my sister proved them wrong," Alex said with pride. "She found a human who embodied the best of your species, someone who would risk everything to save a stranger, someone who healed without asking for payment or reward." Lisa felt overwhelmed. "I do not understand. What does this have to do with me?" Alex leaned forward, his golden eyes intense. Lisa Carter, my sister, has declared a life debt to you. In our culture, this is the most sacred bond that exists. When a Drachmori owes their life to another being, that debt must be repaid in full. But I do not want anything, Lisa protested. I was just doing my job. And that, Alex said with a smile, is exactly why you deserve what we are about to offer you. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the 4 massive ships. Those vessels represent the power and wealth of the Drachmori Empire. Each one is worth more than your entire planet, and we are here to give them to you. Lisa felt dizzy. I do not understand. We want to offer you a position, Alex said, Chief Medical Officer of the Drachmori Imperial Fleet. You would command those 4 ships and their crews. You would have access to medical knowledge accumulated over millions of years. You would be able to heal beings across the galaxy, bringing aid to any species that needs it. Lisa sat down hard in her chair. You want me to leave Earth? Leave humanity? No, Alex said gently. We want you to serve as a bridge between our peoples, to show the galaxy what can be accomplished when different species work together, to prove that healing has no borders. Through the window, Lisa could see the 4 beautiful ships waiting in the valley. She could see the lights of Rust Creek, where people live small, hard lives digging metal from the ground. She thought of Gary Hoffman and his hatred of aliens. She thought of all the patients she could help with Drachmori technology. There is more you should know, Alex said seriously. Accepting this offer will make you powerful, but also dangerous to those who profit from galactic conflict. The same people who tried to kill my sister will try to kill you. Lisa thought of Vera, dying alone in the mountains until a stranger chose to help her. She thought of all the alien patients she had saved over the years. She thought of the Zephyrian child who was alive because she had refused to follow unjust orders. The choice was not really a choice at all. Lisa stared out at the 4 magnificent ships and tried to process what Alex had just told her. They wanted to make her the chief medical officer of an alien fleet. It seemed impossible. I need to understand exactly what you are offering, Lisa said slowly. You want me to leave my life here and join your people? Alex nodded. But it is more than just joining us. You would become something new. The first human to hold a position of such importance in the Drachmori Empire. You would be a bridge between our species. The woman from House Moonwhisper stepped forward. My name is Rachel Moonwhisper, she said in her gentle voice. I am the current chief medical officer of our fleet. I'm over 3,000 years old, and I have studied healing arts across the galaxy, but even I was amazed by what you did for Princess Vera. You solved a medical problem that has killed hundreds of our people, said a man from House Dreamforge. You did it with primitive equipment and plants you found on this planet. Imagine what you could do with our technology. Lisa felt her heart racing. What exactly would I be doing? Whatever you wanted, Alex said simply. The 4 ships would be yours to command. You could go anywhere in the galaxy, help any species that needed medical aid. You would have crews of the finest healers and scientists from dozens of different worlds. He gestured toward the window. The ships have medical facilities that can treat any known disease or injury. They carry libraries of medical knowledge from 100 different civilizations. They have laboratories that can create new medicines and treatments faster than anything your people have ever seen. A warrior from House Stormwing spoke up. His voice was deep and strong. My name is Commander Blake Stormwing. I would be responsible for protecting you and your fleet. The ships have defensive systems that could protect you from entire enemy fleets, but we would also train you to defend yourself. Defend myself from what? Lisa asked, though she already suspected the answer. The Shadow Consortium, Alex said grimly. They are a group of beings from different species who make money from war and conflict. They sell weapons to both sides of every fight. They keep species separated and afraid of each other because peace is bad for their business. Rachel nodded sadly. They were the ones who tried to kill Princess Vera. They have agents everywhere, even in your human government. They know that if the Drachmori begin working openly with other species, their power will end. So they would try to kill me too, Lisa said. Yes, Alex admitted, but you would not be helpless. The position we offer comes with certain enhancements that would help you survive. Lisa did not like the sound of that. What kind of enhancements? Nothing that would change who you are, Rachel said quickly. But we would need to extend your lifespan to match your responsibilities. Humans live such short lives compared to us. How could you properly serve as our chief medical officer if you would age and die in just a few decades? We would also awaken certain abilities that exist in human DNA but are usually dormant, added the representative from House Dreamforge. The ability to interface directly with our biotechnology, enhanced healing powers, improved physical strength and speed. Lisa felt scared and excited at the same time. You are talking about changing me into something that is not human anymore. No, Alex said firmly. You would still be human, but you would be a human with expanded capabilities. Think of it like a doctor getting advanced training. You are still the same person, but you can do things you could not do before. Lisa walked to the window and looked out at the ships again. In the distance, she could see people from Rust Creek watching nervously. They had guns and worried faces. They saw the aliens as a threat, something to be feared. Why me? Lisa asked. There must be other human doctors who are better qualified. There are humans with more training, Rachel admitted. But training is not the same as wisdom. What you did for Princess Vera showed wisdom. You saw past species differences to the person who needed help. That is rarer and more valuable than any medical degree. Alex joined her at the window. We have been watching humanity for decades, looking for individuals who might be ready for this kind of responsibility. Most humans we observed were too afraid of aliens or too concerned with their own species or too eager for personal gain. But your actions showed us something different, Rachel said. You risked your career to save a Zephyrian child. You spent 3 days treating Princess Vera, even though she was a stranger from a species you had never seen. You did these things not for reward but because they were right. Lisa thought about her old job at the medical station. She had loved helping alien patients, learning about their different biologies, finding ways to heal injuries that seemed impossible. It had been the most exciting and fulfilling work of her life. What about my own people? Lisa asked. If I take this position, will I still be able to help humans? Of course, Alex said. In fact, we hope you will. Part of your role would be to establish better medical cooperation between species. You could train human doctors in alien healing techniques. You could bring Drakmori medicines to human hospitals. Commander Blake stepped forward. You would also be instrumental in building a new kind of galactic civilization, one where species work together instead of fighting each other. The medical fleet would be a symbol of what cooperation can achieve. Lisa closed her eyes and tried to imagine it, flying between stars in magnificent ships, bringing healing to worlds that had never known such advanced medicine, working with doctors and scientists from dozens of different species, learning medical techniques that were thousands of years old. But she also thought about the dangers. The Shadow Consortium would want her dead. She would be giving up her human life for something unknown and risky. I need to know more about these enhancements, Lisa said. What exactly would happen to me? Rachel moved closer, her scaled skin shimmering in the cabin's light. The lifespan extension would add about 2,000 years to your natural life. You would age very slowly, maintaining your physical prime for centuries. The biotechnology interface would allow you to communicate directly with Drakmori medical equipment, making you a more effective healer than any human has ever been. The enhanced healing abilities would let you diagnose illnesses with a touch and accelerate recovery in your patients, added the representative from House Dreamforge. You would become the most skilled medical practitioner in known space. Alex looked at her seriously. But these changes cannot be undone. Once you accept, there is no going back to your old life. You would become something new, something the galaxy has never seen before. Lisa walked around her small cabin, thinking hard. Everything she owned could fit in a few boxes. Her life on New Montana was lonely and boring. The people here did not want her, and she had no future on this dead mining planet. But accepting the Drakmori offer meant giving up her humanity in some ways. She would live for thousands of years while everyone she had ever known grew old and died. She would become a target for powerful enemies. She would be responsible for medical fleets and the lives of crews from dozens of species. It was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Can I see the ships? Lisa asked. Before I decide, I want to understand what I would be commanding. Alex smiled broadly. Of course. We would be honored to show you your fleet. As they prepared to leave the cabin, Lisa looked around one more time. At her simple furniture, her small collection of medical books, the pictures of patients she had saved over the years. If she accepted the Drakmori offer, she would never live in a place like this again. But she would also never again have to watch patients die because of politics and prejudice. The choice was becoming clearer with every passing moment. Walking inside the Drakmori ships was like stepping into a dream. The walls seemed to be alive, glowing softly with patterns that moved like flowing water. The floors felt warm under Lisa's feet, and the air smelled like flowers from a dozen different worlds. Alex led her through corridors that seemed to stretch on forever. "These ships are grown, not built," he explained. "They are living beings in their own right, bonded with their crews. Once you accept command, they will bond with you as well." The medical bay of the first ship took Lisa's breath away. It was huge, with treatment areas for dozens of different species. Some beds were filled with water for aquatic beings. Others were designed for creatures made of crystal or gas. Equipment that looked like art pieces hummed quietly, ready to heal any imaginable injury. "This scanner can diagnose any known disease in seconds," Rachel said, pointing to a device that looked like a flower made of light. "These surgical tools can repair damage at the cellular level, and this bioforge can create new organs or limbs for any species in the galactic database." Lisa touched one of the devices, and it responded to her presence, glowing brighter and making soft musical sounds. "It likes you," Rachel said with surprise. "Usually our equipment takes weeks to accept a new user." They toured all 4 ships over the next several hours. Each one was a masterpiece of art and science. The crew quarters were beautiful rooms that could be customized for any species' needs. The laboratories contained equipment that could analyze matter at the atomic level. The libraries held medical knowledge from millions of years of galactic civilization. But what impressed Lisa most were the crews. Each ship had about 200 beings from dozens of different species. There were tall, elegant seraphim with wings of pure light, short, sturdy dwarven engineers with metal limbs, graceful aquatic merfolk who lived in water-filled sections of the ship, even a few beings made of living crystal who communicated through colored light patterns. They all volunteered to serve under a human commander, Alex explained as they walked through a garden area, where crew members from different species worked together tending alien plants. "Word of what you did for Princess Vera has spread throughout our empire. Many beings wanted to be part of this historic moment." Lisa watched a group of young aliens learning medical techniques from older practitioners. They were all different species, but they worked together seamlessly, sharing knowledge across the boundaries that usually separated their peoples. "This is what the galaxy could become," Alex said quietly, "if we can prove that cooperation works better than conflict." After the tour, they returned to the command ship where Princess Vera was waiting. She had arrived while they were exploring the other vessels. Seeing her again, healthy and strong, made Lisa's decision easier. "My brave healer," Vera said warmly, embracing Lisa carefully with her massive arms. "I told you we would meet again." "I never imagined it would be like this," Lisa said, looking around at the magnificent ship's bridge. "The universe has a way of surprising us," Vera said with a dragon's rumbling laugh. "When I was dying in those mountains, I never dreamed that my rescue would lead to this moment." Alex called everyone together in the ship's main conference room. Representatives from all 4 great houses were there, along with senior crew members from each vessel. Lisa felt overwhelmed by the responsibility they were offering her. "Lisa Carter of Earth," Alex said formally, "we offer you command of the Mercy Fleet as the Drakmori Empire's first human chief medical officer. Do you accept?" Lisa looked around the room at the faces watching her. Beings from dozens of species all waiting for her answer. She thought about Gary Hoffman, who had fired her for saving an alien child. She thought about the people of Rust Creek, who feared and hated anything different from themselves. She thought about all the patients she could save with Drakmori technology. "I accept," Lisa said simply. The room erupted in celebration. Beings from different species made sounds of joy in dozens of different ways. Some sang, others made musical tones, and a few created beautiful light displays. The transformation ceremony took place the next day. Lisa lay on a biomedical table while Drakmori healers carefully introduced enhancement nanobots into her system. The process was painless, but she could feel changes happening throughout her body. Her senses became sharper. Colors were brighter, sounds were clearer, and she could smell individual scents from across the room. When she touched the ship's biotechnology, she could feel its thoughts and emotions. It was like gaining a new sense she had never known she was missing. "How do you feel?" Rachel asked as Lisa sat up on the table. "Different," Lisa said honestly. "But still me, just more than I was before." Over the following weeks, Lisa learned to use her new abilities. She could diagnose illnesses by touching a patient and feeling the disruptions in their biological systems. She could guide the ship's healing equipment with her thoughts, making treatments more precise and effective than ever before. The Mercy Fleet's first mission came sooner than expected. A plague had broken out on a mining world in the Outer Rim. The local government had requested help, but no human medical ships could reach them in time. Lisa stood on the bridge of her flagship as they emerged from hyperspace near the infected world. The planet was brown and ugly, much like New Montana, but she knew that millions of beings were suffering down there. "Take us into orbit," she commanded. The ship responded to her thoughts as much as her words, moving smoothly toward the planet. As they approached, Lisa could see other ships in orbit. Human vessels, but also ships from half a dozen other species. All of them had come to help fight the plague. "This is Admiral Johnson of the Earth Medical Corps," came a voice over the communication system. "Unknown ships, please identify yourselves." Lisa smiled as she opened a channel. "This is Chief Medical Officer Lisa Carter of the Drakmori Mercy Fleet. We are here to assist with the medical emergency." There was a long pause. Then Admiral Johnson's voice came back, much more respectful. "Lisa Carter? The nurse who was fired from the Galactic Medical Station?" "The same," Lisa said, "though my circumstances have changed somewhat." She could imagine the shock on human ships as they got their first look at Drakmori vessels. The 4 magnificent ships dwarfed everything else in orbit. "We welcome any assistance," Admiral Johnson said carefully. "The plague is unlike anything we have seen before." Lisa and her teams worked for 2 weeks to stop the plague. The Drakmori technology made quick work of a disease that had baffled human doctors. But more importantly, her crews worked alongside human, Zephyrian, and Andorian medical teams, sharing knowledge and techniques. By the time they left, the plague was completely eliminated. But Lisa had done more than save lives. She had shown the galaxy what was possible when different species worked together. Word of the Mercy Fleet's success spread quickly through space. Soon requests for aid were coming from dozens of worlds. Lisa found herself commanding not just 4 ships, but an entire movement toward galactic cooperation. Gary Hoffman, the administrator who had fired her, faced a Senate investigation when it was revealed that his anti-alien policies had directly violated several interspecies treaties. The medical station where Lisa had once worked was struggling without the skilled xenobiologists he had dismissed. But Lisa was too busy to pay attention to her former boss's problems. She was establishing medical academies on a dozen worlds, training the next generation of galactic healers. She was working with alien scientists to develop new treatments for diseases that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. She was building a future where healing had no borders. 6 months after accepting command of the Mercy Fleet, Lisa stood on the observation deck of her flagship. Watching stars wheel by as they traveled to their next mission, Princess Vera joined her, now serving as her co-commander and closest friend. "Do you ever regret your choice?" Vera asked. Lisa thought about her old life on New Montana, her tiny cabin, her boring job at the clinic. Then she looked around at her magnificent ship, with its crews from dozens of species all working together toward a common goal. "Never," Lisa said with certainty. "This is what I was meant to do." In the distance, 4 more Drakmori ships were approaching, carrying supplies and new crew members eager to join the Mercy Fleet. The galaxy was vast and full of suffering, but for the first time in millennia, there was real hope for change. Lisa Carter, once a disgraced nurse from a backwater medical station, had become something the galaxy had never seen before. She was a bridge between species, a healer without limits, and proof that sometimes the smallest acts of compassion could change the course of history. The age of the Mercy Fleet had begun, and with it, a new chapter in galactic civilization. It would be written by those who chose to heal rather than harm, to unite rather than divide. And it would prove that when beings worked together, there was no problem too great to solve, no disease too dangerous to cure, and no dream too ambitious to achieve. The stars were calling, and Lisa Carter was ready to answer.